What's up guys, it's Ryan here, and welcome to this video where we are going to be looking at AFK ways to take out both monsters and bosses. First off, what are the different methods of combat? You've got full manual, you've got revolution, and then you've got legacy mode. Obviously, full manual is going to output more damage than revolution, and it's a lot more intensive in terms of clicks and the number of actions required. In this video, we are going to be mostly focusing on comparing legacy mode to revolution, and we're going to be looking at a number of different things. We are going to be trying out both at a number of different boss fights, and we're going to look at both the boss timer as well as how many actions were required to finish it off. After that, I'm going to run some numbers and give you guys some conclusions on where I think legacy is better than revolution ++ and where you might want to stick to that revo bar. Now, I'm going to quickly mention before we get into it, I know that a lot of people use something called hybrid revolution, which is use revolution for some abilities and you manually fire others. I am not talking about that sort of revolution in this video. I'm going to be letting Revo take the wheel for the most part, as we're going to be comparing two AFK combat modes. We're going to be comparing revolution in its most AFK form to legacy mode, which is inherently AFK, as no abilities need to be manually fired. There's kind of two reasons for this video. I saw a bunch of videos welcoming new players back to Runescape 3 and telling them that they should use legacy mode for everything, so I want to take a look at that and see if there's any merit to it. The other reason is with the release of Revolution ++, which allowed revolution bars to activate both ultimate and threshold abilities, Jagex also quietly buffed legacy mode so that it could keep up. So, now that we've talked about why the video is happening, let's get right into it after a brief message from this video's sponsor, Vikings War of Clans. This video is brought to you by Vikings War of Clans. Vikings War of Clans was inspired by some of the top PC RPG and strategy games of the 90s that a lot of us have played and enjoyed. If you want to relive those same memories once again and get new experience, this mobile game with fantastic graphics is where it's at. Vikings gives you the option to choose your own playstyle, and there's never a dull moment with over 20 million online players constantly changing the way the game evolves by never-ending fighting over resources, forging new alliances, and competing in live events. Support my channel by downloading Vikings for free in the links in the description down below, and get the special bonus of 200 gold coins and a protective shield. The first thing I'm going to be doing is a Dwarven Challenge Barrel with both Legacy Mode, full-on Revolution, and then I'll also be taking a crack at it with full manual, 4-ticking, the whole shebang. I'm going to be using the exact same gear in all three of these just to give you a base idea where things stand in a pure DPS dummy scenario. The Dwarven Challenge Barrel doesn't fight back or anything, all it does is sit in place and log any damage I deal to it for 3 minutes. To reduce potential jitter, I'm not using any familiar, I'm not using any pocket slot items, I'm not using any auras, and I'm also not using weapon poison. For starters, with full manual and 4-tick auto attacking, I was able to do 179,000 DPM or damage per minute. Now we're going to see what Revolution has to offer. According to the wiki, this is the best revo bar to have for two-handed magic. I think it might be possible to come up with something better situationally, but one of the things we wanted to look at is for a returning player what's easier to do, and I don't expect a returning player to be at all interested in custom building ability rotations. So with that in mind, we're going to put to the test this revo bar from the wiki. Revolution has several disadvantages from full manual, and the biggest one that will affect your damage output is the canceling of channeled abilities. Some channeled abilities are Fury, Concentrated Blast, Asphyxiate, Assault, or even Destroy. When any of those abilities go off, if you're using full manual, you can actually cancel them early with another ability, and you'll still get all the hits. You'll see on screen, whenever I Asphyxiate, there's going to be a brief moment at the end of it where the Asphyxiate is done hitting before I start firing my next ability. That's going to slow down my ability to output damage and to build adrenaline. You're also going to note that I've got my buff and debuff bar on screen so you can tell that it's the same for every single test I'm doing here, and the one click I made during this Revolution bar is on an adrenaline potion after the Revo bar triggered Sunshine. I didn't manually click a single ability, but when the Revo bar sunned, I clicked on an adrenaline potion, as even when AFKing, I think that's a pretty reasonable thing to do. Now, for the numbers, I was extremely impressed. For the Revo bar, I was extremely impressed. I was not expecting to be able to pull 144,000 DPM with literally one click in the entire 3 minutes, and it would appear that in a vacuum, Revolution is extremely strong. Now let's do the exact same test in Legacy mode and see how the two compare. When we're crunching the numbers on anything, it's important to look at limitations of what we're doing. A Dwarven Challenge Barrel does not properly simulate a PVM fight, and that is why after this, we can't reach any conclusions, and it's going to be worthwhile to look at the other pros and cons between Revolution and Legacy mode, especially in PVM scenarios. As you can see here, I'm hitting extremely high with Legacy. My max hit is in the 800s, and in Legacy mode, damage is displayed as 10 times less to look more similar to pre-evolution of combat. What that means is anytime you see an 100 hit, that would display as a 1000 to anybody in Evolution of Combat mode. The blank interface on screen maps any clicks and any abilities I make, which shows that I am not clicking anything at all. I'm on Legacy mode, there is nothing to click. The end result with Legacy mode was 330,000 damage in 3 minutes, which is 111,000 damage per minute, or DPM. Comparing that to what we got with Revolution, there's a clear-cut winner here, and it looks like Legacy was definitely not buffed to the point of matching or keeping up with Revo++. Revolution clocks in at 23% worse than full manual and Fortic auto attacking, whereas Legacy clocks in a whole 61% worse. At the same time, comparing Legacy to Revolution, Legacy is 31% less effective than Revolution, so it looks like in this particular test, in a pure DPS dummy situation, Revolution++ is king, even if you're just using a bar from the wiki. Now we're gonna make our way to God Wars 2, we're gonna try and take on some of the bosses there. I've excluded Hellwar, as Hellwar requires the use of both Freedom and Resonance to do properly, which makes the boss pretty well non-AFKable. We're gonna rank this next section on 2 pieces of criteria. We're gonna look at the average kill speed, and we're gonna look at the average food used per kill. First on the chopping block, let's go to Greg. Legacy mode Greg was surprisingly easy. I got an average kill time of 1 minute and 22 seconds. As you can see, it's pretty AFK. I'm literally just sitting on the boss and clicking on it, and not much is happening. I'm praying Protect from range as the range attacks can hit really hard, and I'm getting heals from the auto cast on Blood Barrage. The only mechanic I'm doing here is dodging the magic spots on the ground, and outside of that, I'm not touching the Rise Child or the clones that spawn. The clones all get cleared up by my barrage, which gives me an even bigger heal. In the kills I did with Legacy, my average kill speed was 1 minute and 22 seconds. I averaged use of half a food per kill, and I had to click an average of 6 times per kill, which is pretty good. When we bring in the Revo bar, things get very interesting. The average kill speed was 1 minute 15, which is 7 seconds faster than the kills with Legacy. So you'd think that Revo would be better, but something I also noticed is I took significantly more damage. And it's not so much the incoming damage that makes a difference, it's more the lack of ability to heal. This is because Blood Barrage interacts differently in Legacy mode than it does in Evolution of Combat, where it only has a 10% chance to activate on abilities, versus in Legacy mode where it always activates every single time it hits the target. Because of this, even though the kills were a couple seconds faster, I was using an average of 3.5 food per kill, and I even died once when looking at my other monitor. The verdict here, and the start of a trend here, is that Revolution++ will get you a quicker kill speed, but it is less AFK. If you look away for too long, you're going to end up in Death's Office because the passive healing you're getting is significantly lower. Now, Greg is a fairly difficult boss. It's arguably the boss where you take the most damage in all of God Wars 2, so it heavily favors Legacy. But what about the most popular and most killed boss in all of God Wars 2, Vindicta? This boss is known for being extremely easy, known for being fairly polite, shouldn't hit too hard, and should be very friendly to both fully AFKing on Legacy mode and AFKing on Revolution. So, which combat mode should you use? We're gonna start out by busting out the Legacy mode, and let's see how we do. The combination of camping Soul Split with Blood Barrage heals is actually mind-blowing, and even though I'm on the Maniacal aura, I'm able to out-heal any damage that the boss can deal. This even includes after Gorvet comes out and you're taking range hits. Normally, if you're using abilities, you could resonance that hit or you could switch your prayers, and this wasn't even necessary. You're gonna see the only clicks necessary were to move out of the fire, and outside of that, it was extremely straightforward. This was incredibly AFK, and this was something I would do again in the future. You literally take no damage, use 0 food, and you could stay here for an entire hour. My average kill speed was 1 minute and 28 seconds, and I did not use a single food in any of the kills I did. Now onto the EOC side of things. In Legacy mode, we made Vindicta look easy. It was completely simple, there was no risk of getting KO'd, and the start of every new kill presented an opportunity to heal back up to full life points before the second phase. It was pretty much flawless. And you guys see that things were not quite the same on EOC. The average kill speed was quite a bit faster and 1 minute and 18 seconds, so a full 10 seconds quicker, but I actually did not prefer this method at all. When you're AFKing, an important part of it is peace of mind that you're not about to get one hit, and simply having only a 1 in 10 chance of getting a heal from the blood spells didn't yield enough healing for me to be confident, and it turns out I actually hit the deck. I looked away for about 8 seconds, and then after that, I was gone. You'll see a bunch of hits in a row where my soul split's healing, but my blood spells aren't, and it's simply not enough to counteract the damage that Vindicta has the ability to do. So overall, if you're willing to pay some attention, the Revo bar is going to get the job done faster than Legacy, but if you want a fully AFK experience, Legacy is the way to go. So, there's a lot to unpack, but based on the couple tests we just ran, I'm going to conclusively tell you guys where I'd recommend using Revolution++ and where I'd recommend using Legacy mode. For starters, Revolution++ will be best if you are on a budget. This is because Legacy mode requires you to use runes for every single spell you cast as it's an auto attack, whereas abilities do not take runes. If runes and or ammunition costs are important to you, Revo++ is better. Revolution++ will also be best if you can pay some attention to your monitor. I wouldn't AFK a boss on Revolution while cleaning my room, but if I'm watching something on another monitor, Revo is going to be perfect. Revolution is also going to be better if you care about getting the most damage possible. It beats Legacy mode in every single test, even on a 0% adrenaline start. On top of this, Revolution++ will also be better for Slayer. You're killing numerous mobs at a time, and you're significantly better equipped to attack multiple enemies at a time, and also grab aggro on them, as abilities like Chain have a 7 square range, whereas something like Blood Barrage will only attack in a 3x3. On the Legacy side of things, there are only 2 situations where I would recommend using Legacy mode over Revo++. The first is one that we explored and we went over in this video. If you simply can't be at your computer to pay attention and want the most AFK experience, in certain scenarios, the ability to heal off spells like Blood Barrage will give you the best performance. The other scenario where I'd recommend using Legacy mode is a lot more common and a lot more important. Quite simply, Legacy mode is going to scale better than Revolution when you're low level and don't have access to all of your abilities. Even without Sunshine unlocked, Revolution++ will perform better than Legacy mode, but there are a lot of important threshold abilities that have skill level requirements in the 50s or 60s. These include things like Assault, Wild Magic, Metamorphosis, and Bombardment. If you're a returning player, would I recommend just playing on Legacy mode? Personally, I'm going to disagree with the people who've said to do that. I would recommend going out of your way and working towards unlocking some of those abilities. Even if you have no interest in using the evolution of combat, no interest in full manual, and no interest in PVMing, you're going to be better off unlocking those couple abilities, getting your stats up, and then switching to EOC as soon as you can. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's something a little different from me. I really just wanted to see how a video like this would go, and if you have any other things you'd like me to take a look at and weigh in on, all you gotta do is let me know in the comments down below. Outside of that, I hope you all enjoyed, have a good one, and peace out. That's it from me.